Julius Randle, a name that has been synonymous with the New York Knicks resurgence, has just been traded. With the 2024-25 season approaching, a new face has emerged in New York, Karl-Anthony Towns. So what does this blockbuster trade mean for the Knicks' future? And where does it leave the Timberwolves? Stick around, we'll talk about it, plus have some questions that I want you guys' thoughts on in the comments. So, first, let's reflect on Julius Randle's dominance during his time with the Knicks. Over 5 seasons, Randle averaged 22.6 points, 9.9 rebounds, and 4.7 assists per game, making 2 All-NBA teams and 3 All-Star appearances. Under Tom Thibodeau's system, Randle's scoring, rebounding, and playmaking made him essential for New York's success. In the 23-24 season, the Knicks thrived with Randle at the helm, boasting an offense that ranked in the 93rd percentile and was on pace for a 56 wins before Randle's late-season injury. Funnily enough, this was the last time we'd see him suit up for the team. What was undeniable is his presence on the floor elevated the entire room's performance despite his flaws. However, the acquisition of Karl-Anthony Towns marks a significant shift. Towns, coming off a season with averages of 20.8 points, 8.1 rebounds, and 4.8 assists, brings a completely different dynamic to this New York team. So, what does Towns mean for the Knicks? Well, for starters, Towns has a unique skill set for a big man, which could drastically alter the Knicks' offensive flow. With Jalen Brunson already solidified as the primary playmaker, the addition of Towns gives New York an inside-out dynamic that few teams in the Eastern Conference can match. Towns' ability to space the floor and his three-point shooting at 39.5% from 3 last season, this offers the Knicks more offensive flexibility than they had with Randle, who only shot 33.5 from 3. Along with being more efficient, it will create more room for Brunson to operate in a pick-and-roll situation due to his quick decisions, unlike how Randle went about his points. The Knicks' offense, which was often stagnated with Randle's isolation-heavy style, can now flow more freely. Brunson and Towns could become one of the most dangerous duos in the league if they can develop chemistry. It shouldn't be too difficult though, considering both players are elite 3-level threats. We also cannot forget newly acquired Mikal Bridges in this situation. He will also provide more creation, spacing, and shooting to the tune of 19 points per game on a 47% field goal percentage and 38% three-point percentage from his previous team across town in Brooklyn. It's hard to see this not being one of the best and most fun offenses in the league with those type of numbers and these players' abilities. For all of Randle's regular season brilliance, his postseason struggles were glaring. In 15 playoff games, Randle's scoring dipped to 17.1 points per game, and his shooting percentage dropped from 45.9% in the regular season to a disappointing 34.4%. His reliance on isolation plays made the Knicks' offense easier to defend in the playoffs. Many looked at their run last year down to his absence, which is absurd by the way, but may have some validity to it if we see the same deep run the Knicks make this year. Now, the Knicks will hope that Towns can perform better under a postseason pressure. But Towns too has faced criticism in the playoffs. With the Timberwolves, he averaged 19.8 points and 11.2 rebounds in the postseason, but struggled with consistency and decision-making in high-pressure moments, specifically silly fouls and ill-timed shot attempts. This should be less of a concern with Brunson at the helm, but nevertheless, the Knicks will be counting on Towns to elevate his game when the stakes are the highest. Something he is yet to prove he can do quite consistently, although last year's playoffs is a good start. One of the biggest challenges the Knicks now face is managing Karl-Anthony Towns' massive contract. Towns is entering the first year of his 4-year, $224 million Supermax extension, with an annual salary average of $56 million. This makes him one of the highest paid players in the NBA and adds significant pressure for him to deliver. Not only being in New York, he's got the money he needs to back it up now. With Jalen Brunson on his discounted 4-year $104 million contract, OG Anunoby starting his 5-year $210 million reward deal, Mikal Bridges incoming $50 million for the next 2 years on the books, with a potential extension looming, the Knicks have some key rotation players like Josh Hart, Miles McBride, and Mitchell Robinson on some reasonable deals. They are also still pushing their financial limits to build a contender outside of their starting 5. The front office must balance their books carefully, as paying Bridges, Anunoby, Brunson, and now Towns leaves little room for adding depth without going deep into the luxury tax. Speaking of depth, after losing Dante DiVincenzo in the trade also, the Knicks' depth have been reversed overnight. Going from too many wings to not enough is weird with just losing one player, but it seems to be that way. They also still have Mitchell Robinson, a defensive anchor at center, but now that rotation relies heavily on Towns staying healthy and playing at an all-star level. Behind Robinson, the Knicks only have Jericho Sims and Precious Achiuwa, but they're missing a true backup big and will hope for more from Miles McBride's development and probably spot minutes from free agent guard Landry Shamet or rookie Tyler Kolek to supplement DiVincenzo's production and shooting from the bench. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, acquiring Julius Randle brings a different kind of dynamic. Paired with Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert, Randle gives the Wolves a proven scorer and someone who thrives in physical, gritty games. Randle will take pressure off Edwards and give him more freedom to attack, while Gobert handles the defensive responsibilities, protecting Randle on that end. The Timberwolves might not see Randle as their long-term star, but his presence could help unlock a more versatile offensive system, relying on Towns' ability to spread the floor and unforced errors that came with him. Regardless of Randle's role, the balance is much better on their books now that they do not have their two highest paid players playing the same position in Towns and Gobert. Sure, Randle has a player option for 25-26, which he'll likely exercise, but the $20 million savings compared to Cat's contract still looks great. What is rumored to be a sticking point in the trade is Donte DiVincenzo, and understandably from both sides here. A proven shooter who is capable to rise to the moment as he displayed being the second leading scorer for the Knicks in the playoffs last season. Donte will bring relief off the bench for Conley and the lineup versatility for when the likes of Jaden McDaniels doesn't have it on the night, all while providing time for young Rob Dillingham to grow. We still have questions about the overall fit after this trade for the Wolves, but it seems like they're trying to maximize on Edwards' star potential now, but also to remain free to conduct easier trades or moves in the future if they need with the new cap changes in mind. Lastly, I do want to say, I think this trade has everyone shocked. The timing of it, especially with Minnesota coming off a deep and successful playoff run, and recent comments from Coach Thibodeau about the willingness to play Randle at center. It feels like it just came out of nowhere for both teams, with training camp days away. The star-for-star trades rarely happen, and especially at this time of the season. But with both teams' recent success, who are we to argue with their front office choices? Okay, let's grade the trade. Minnesota gets a B, while the Knicks edge out with an A here. I don't see why the Wolves had to do this deal now, and I felt that they could have waited and maybe got more or the same value later on down the line, maybe a mid-season trade, but at least now they're not locked in and have some flexibility moving forward in the cap that they could adjust as Edwards' star rises. As for the Knicks, well, with Towns in the mix alongside Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, and presumably Josh Hart, the Knicks have one of the best starting fives in the league and a roster despite some questions built for a deep playoff run. But success will depend on whether Towns can perform under pressure of the New York's bright lights, much like it did with Randle, and also if the supporting cast can hold up during a grueling Eastern Conference playoff run. The Knicks' overall depth may need to be bolstered throughout the midseason trade or a buyout acquisition, or maybe the Knicks are not done making moves. I wouldn't rule anything out this front office has done lately. Okay, so what are your thoughts on the trade? Here's some post-trade questions for you to ponder and maybe give me some answers in the comments below. Do you think Towns will face up to the scrutiny like before? Can he handle it? Is this finally the season when the Knicks break through and reach the NBA Finals? Or does this trade even happen if Hartenstein doesn't leave for OKC? Talk about a sliding doors moment. Lastly, is this Anthony Edwards window maximized now he'll play in a more traditional lineup next to Julius Randle as a 4? Let me know below. Give me your comments. Plus, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.